Thank you. Member for Johnston.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Happy 100 days, COA. And I also want to express my condolences to the family of Chris Nathaniel. This morning, in thinking about tonight, I walked around my garden and visited the many amazing trees, fruit trees that we have Chris to thank for. Not quite as many as the member for Wanguri, but our pomelo, our local orange, our meerkat lime, our Tahitian lime, our ruby grapefruit, our pomegranate, our guava, our lemonade fruit, our black sapote and many more. So very big thanks to Chris for his always generous wisdom and incredibly helpful and kind approach when anyone came to him with any question. Mr Deputy Speaker, I want to speak tonight to two letters and I'm going to seek leave to table them. The first letter is a letter that was made reference to in Parliament today by way of a question, and it was a letter to the Chief Minister. She said she wasn't aware of this letter, which was sent by 79 legal practitioners and therefore could not respond to it. So to assist the Chief Minister, I'll read this letter now and seek leave to table it so she is able to respond.
Is leave granted? Leave granted.
Thank you. Dear Chief Minister and Acting Commissioner, re the investigation of death in custody of Kumanji White. We, the undersigned, write in our capacity as legal practitioners in the Northern Territory, committed to preserving the rule of law and the integrity of our public institutions across the Territory. This letter is not reflective of any organisation or association for which we work. We write in relation to the investigation into the death of Kumanji White on 27th May 2025 in Alice Springs while in police custody. We understand an internal investigation is underway. However, 3 months have elapsed and little information is publicly available regarding the circumstances surrounding this death, timeframes for investigation, measures being taken to ensure investigative integrity, and administrative steps being taken in relation to the officers involved. When a death in custody occurs, transparency and accountability are essential to maintaining trust in our public institutions. Kumanji White marks yet another Aboriginal death in custody in Central Australia, and this investigation must be conducted in a manner consistent with community expectations. It is incumbent on government and police leadership to provide public assurance as to the process being followed. To that end, we respectfully urge the Northern Territory Government to ensure appropriate internal and external oversight mechanisms are in place to conduct this investigation, commit to timely, regular and accessible procedural disclosure relating to this investigation, and take administrative steps to remove those officers involved from active duty while the investigation remains ongoing. Yours sincerely, legal practitioners of the Northern Territory, and attached is the signatories of 79 legal practitioners. The second letter, which I will read out and seek leave to table, is a civil society open letter to the Whanafiaro government.
Is leave granted? Leave granted.
Yes, thank you. No pepper spray, no guns on buses, tough on crime won't produce safer communities. Safety in the Northern Territory is a complex and polarising issue. The situation at present is becoming untenable and tough on crime reactions can do more harm than good. We, the undersigned civil society and grassroots organisations, call on the NT Government to take active steps to build thriving and safer communities. We acknowledge that crime needs to be addressed, but the NT Government's law and order policies have the consequence of negatively impacting mainly Indigenous families and communities while not doing enough to address the root causes of harm. We believe the NT Government must implement evidence-based initiatives, and we strongly believe that Indigenous-led community safety models must be part of the solution. We are alarmed at the potential consequences of NT Government policies. Arming the public with pepper spray risks escalating violent incidents. Allowing guns on public transport and in public housing exposes the poor and marginalised to an increased risk of violence, arrest, and even the possibility of deaths in custody. The NT Government is rolling out these initiatives in the name of victims of crime. However, ill thought out reactions can result in victims of crime not being protected at all. There is no evidence that spreading weapons through our community deters or reduces crime in the long term. We know what works: addressing poverty, trauma and discrimination, as well as helping people regain a sense of identity. There must be consequences for wrongdoing, but increasing the incarceration rate is a simplistic response to a complicated reality. We need to help people rebuild their lives with the support of their families and communities. If we do this, crime is much less likely to occur. Anti-government policies need to reduce fear and make everyone feel safe and welcome in the community. Significant investments are needed across multiple sectors: safe and affordable housing, mental health, education, alcohol and other drug services, justice reinvestment, youth services and other structural supports are required to reduce the risk of violence and keep people out of prison. And this letter is signed by 37 organisations representing a broad civil society coalition of voices opposing the Whanakiara government's law and order agenda, which is not evidence-based. I'll read out the names of some of the signatories: the NT Mental Health Coalition, Catholic Care NT, Anglicare NT, AMSANT, the Public Health Association Australia, Danila Dilba, Darwin Children's Clinic, Bishop Charles Gauci, Shay Brown from Her Story, A Veritable, Water Lily, Perfectly Imperfect Consulting, the Justice Reform Initiative, the Central Australian Youth Justice, the AEU, Nest, the Nest, Vital Collective, King's Narrative, Sisters Inside, the National Network of Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls, Bush Mob, the Uniting Church in Australia, Evora Care, the Brotherhood of St Lawrence, Oxfam Australia, Jesuit Social Services and Australians for Native Title and Reconciliation. And I'll just read one quote to finish off. There's many statements from these people. One brief quote, which there are many quotes here. Just bear with me for one moment. Well, I could read any of these. I was looking for a particular one. But we know that firsthand locking up people and flooding our communities with weapons does not keep us safe. It only entrenches cycles of harm and grief. Safety will come when governments listen to those of us most impacted and redirect resources away from cops, court and cages and instead invest in Indigenous-led, community-based solutions that restore dignity and connection. Jesuit Social Services is deeply concerned about the impact of the Northern Territory's tough on crime policies and calls on the government to shift its focus to investing in early intervention and evidence-based solutions that are known to address the root causes of crime and increase community safety. And just one more. Sometimes policies made by good people can have unintended consequences. I am aware that the rate of crime is challenging to many people. I am, however, concerned that a number of aspects of the government's tough on crime policies have the potential to have unintended consequences that will not in the long term reduce crime. They will also have detrimental effects on the lives of many who are amongst the most vulnerable members of our society. We need a holistic approach to these challenges based on evidence and wisdom. Hence, I urge the government to keep reassessing policies for the long-term good of all. And that last quote was from Bishop Charles Gauci. Thank you.
Thank you, Member.